Like many people, I was excited when they announced the Pretty Little Liars reboot. We could tell that they had a different spin on it this time around, and that it wouldn't just completely cling on what came before it. So imagine my complete disappointment when I watched the first 3 episodes of Original Sin, and they were hot garbage. So how exactly did Original Sin miss the mark, and is it so bad that it can't be redeemed? Let's find out. So to quickly explain the show's premise, it starts out with a flashback to a Y2K rave party. The audience immediately sees a girl named Angela pushing through people and basically screaming for help. The rave is so loud that people aren't really paying attention to her, but she finds her group of friends and she asks them for help. One of the girls, Sydney, goes to help her, but she is quickly stopped by her friend Davy. This must have brought a sense of anguish and desperation out of Angela, as the next thing we know, she is up on a ladder and jumping off, taking her own life. We then flash forward to present day, where we see a much older Davy eating dinner with her daughter. Her daughter Imogen is visibly pregnant, and we still don't know what significance that has to the show, but she is. Davy then gets a visit from her estranged friend Karen. Karen hands Davy an envelope that's self-addressed to her. When she opens it, it's a flyer from that night. Davy is visibly shaken but hides it from Imogen. Imogen and Karen go upstairs. They then get into a disagreement where we find out that Imogen is being accused of kissing Karen's boyfriend. And Imogen wasn't at all sensitive to the situation, given the fact that she said this.
When are you gonna let it go? Let it go?
That remark obviously led her to be upset, and she ends up storming off, and when she opens the door, Karen and Imogen both notice that there is a flood. They both walk towards the bathroom door rather slowly, I might add. I definitely would have been a lot quicker. And when they open the door, they find that Imogen's mom, Davy, has taken her life. From there, we flash forward about 2 months, and pretty much the same premise from Pretty Little Liars, where the girls start getting really strange text messages from a person named A. That applies here. This TV show, though, is more intense given the fact that A is like in a Michael Myers type suit and isn't playing around as much, given the fact that he literally killed someone in the first episode. So I know that sounds a little bit interesting, but here's where they start to mess up. For example, I know this is supposed to be a slasher themed television show, but where they do the jump edits just don't make any sense to me. The characters would literally be in the middle of a conversation and they flash to the randomest things.
In high school, I would have done anything for your mom. And she would have done the same for me.
Like, tell me where that made sense for that specific scene. I think it's just a waste of editing. I also have an issue with how woke this show is trying to be. They right off the bat show you that Karen is supposed to be the villain, but given the fact that they named her Karen and then decided to put towards her all of the socially unacceptable things of today, just made it really lazy and sloppy in my opinion. Like when she said this to one of the black characters.
I mean, Sherry probably had to make you the Black Swan because, well, you're the only girl who's what? Karen?
It's like, why are we going for the low-hanging fruit here? Let's evolve our writing in 2022. But Karen is far from the last character that I have issues with. I also have an issue with the main character, Imogen. Imogen has no idea who she wants to be. From one moment, she's breaking down, understandably, as she's going through a lot. But then she says things like this.
We should kill Karen Beasley.
Horrible things start to happen to Karen, and they think that she's so awful that she's doing it to herself and framing them, because it honestly doesn't take a lot, just speculation from Karen that these girls are doing it for them to get in trouble, which again I feel like is flimsy writing. Like, is nobody gonna question her? Side note, Karen's dad is the sheriff of the town, but I feel like that wouldn't hold weight for this certain situation. And some of the things that happen to Karen range from being small and understandably could be detention worthy, and other things are sociopathic, like having a rat in her bag and finding blades in her ballet shoes. Yet, no matter what the issue is, they all end up in detention, which again, I think is really sloppy. Which brings me to another issue I have with this show. It's how they use certain plot devices to move the story forward, when they could have pretty much avoided all of this together by just having the girls be friends, like in the original Pretty Little Liars. The original showed us all of them being friends and then being separated through the tragedy of losing Allison. But for these girls, it's basically just like they went to school together and didn't really know of each other, but because they all had the common denominator of disliking Karen and ending up in detention together, that's where their bond started. I feel like we could have gotten to the point a lot quicker had we not spent the entire first episode trying to get the liars all into one place. Then they also used the situation with Karen as another plot device, because then the girls tried to get revenge on her by showing a not so flattering video of her literally in a cinema where everyone can see it. Automatically we know this is going to come back to bite them in the ass, because literally it's something that could be tied back to them easily. Like, where's the common sense here? They have a hookup through Tabby, one of the liars, and I want to talk about Tabby for a little bit. She is literally my least favorite character and probably one of the least favorite characters I've ever seen on anything ever. From the moment we met Tabby, it's very clear that they want to establish her as the woke one, but they do it in such an unnatural way. Like, this is a scene where she's talking to her teacher, and it just doesn't feel organic the way that they tried to do it.
List that's going around. Tabitha, yes.
Mr. Smithy, there are 20 movies on this list and not one was made by a director of color. And don't even get me started on the fact that there are only 2 women.
Do you see what I'm talking about? This is a conversation she could have easily had with a friend, and it would have been just as much effective. That exchange to me is definitely unorganic, and to me it made the character a little annoying. But little did I know that would probably be the least annoying thing that they have her say. They literally have this girl as a walking, talking movie poster. All she does is reference movies and throw them in at the most random, inappropriate times. Yet they're supposed to have us believe that she's one of the mature ones, and I'm just not feeling it. You can establish the traits of a character without having to shove it down the viewer's throat every 2 seconds. Less is definitely more in this situation. All they had to do to establish the fact that she loves movies is either state that she wants to work in film or be a writer. Literally, they're acting like the audience isn't of age to put that together. Now that I've established my hate for that character, let's move on to the other liars. So Noah is actually probably my favorite. Her backstory to me is the most interesting, given the fact that she took the fall for her mom's drug use. I love that. That's actually what's going to keep me interested in the series. Her motivations are a lot more clear than the other characters, and I feel like she is the best written character that they have. Then we have Farron, who I don't think is a bad character either. She's pretty cut and dry. She has drama with her mom, but it's really unclear because they show her one moment being really excited for her mom to come see her dance, and in the next moment she's like jumping down her throat because she's there and active in her life. And this is what I mean about the characters' motivations and feelings being really unclear to the audience. The way that they shift from one emotion to another without a proper written backstory or back motivation for that feeling is just really lost on me. Mouse, aka Minnie, right now is probably one of the most forgettable characters. She's kind of more reserved, but she's definitely the most loyal. She wanted to all stick together when they were about to take the fall for what happened with Karen. Right now, I feel like most of the writing is focused on Imogen and on Tabby. I do think they have one too many liars in this situation, that it might be difficult for them to develop their stories properly, especially because it took about 3 episodes for us to really start getting to the series. Other characters that I'm not totally a fan of definitely would be Kelly, which is Karen's twin. She is very irrelevant to the plot until about the end of the 2nd episode, again with the slow burn, and also Karen's father, who is the sheriff. If you ask me, the sheriff is just a knockoff version of Cal Jacobs, and he's not as well written as Cal Jacobs is. Right now, he's very much a cartoonish villain character, and I hope we do get to see more of his motivations, his backstory, to humanize him, because what makes a good TV villain is someone who has a bunch of different layers and is not just one note evil all the time. And so far, that's all we are getting from him. So I didn't want to make this video too long, but the third episode definitely is setting up for more. We've reached episode 3 and we still haven't gotten a proper backstory as to what's going on with the moms, which I feel like is really robbing us as viewers, because that's literally what the premise is set up around. The daughters paying for whatever their parents did, and for us to not even have a glimpse of that all the way to the end of the third episode, I think is absolutely ridiculous. I feel like in order for this show to get better, they're gonna have to stop treating their characters as if they're cartoon versions of themselves and really make them real people. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, it's only been 3 episodes, think of the last time a TV show took 3 episodes to really start establishing its characters, especially an hour-long streaming show where they have nothing but time. I definitely feel like this show has potential, and I really do hope that it gets better. I love the cast. I think that they're amazing. I think that it would be such a waste of talent if they don't develop these characters properly. But what did you guys think of Pretty Little Liars Original Sin? Let me know in the comments. Also, remember to like this video if you like this video and share this video if you care. See you guys in the next video. Bye.